everyone. Welcome to this episode of The Big Bosses. Today we have a very special guest with us, Ms. Arundhati Bhattacharya, CEO and Chairperson Salesforce India. So let's begin. What an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, ma'am. We're always very skeptical of taking up this role as Chairperson of Salesforce India. So, now you have just completed 5 years. Time flies. How it has been?
So, believe me, completing 5 years means today I start on my 6th year. Almost unbelievable, really.
Yeah.
When I started, I sort of made a commitment that I'd be around for a few years, and few in my mind at that point of time was around 3 or 4. And then I don't know where the time flew. And I'm still very much, involved in everything. And really speaking, I was just comparing today the 4 years of my chairmanship of SBI in my memory. That seems to stretch out for a very long time. These 5 years, on the other hand, seems to have gone in a blink. And maybe my learning was much more, maybe the energy around me, because I have a far younger workforce, maybe that drives me. I don't really know, but it doesn't really seem like 5 years. Maybe when I think back later on, I will think of these as longer period of time. At this point of time, I seem to be learning so much on a daily basis that I don't know when the year starts and when it begins. So yeah, it's been a great experience actually.
If you have to prioritize your top 3 most satisfying moments leading the India market, what would that be?
I would say that one, of course, is when we stopped being just a rounding off error in the global scheme of things. Because when I came in, we were told as much that India is just a rounding off error. So I think that was one point. The second point was when we crossed 10,000 employees, which is a substantial number, mind you, and we became the second largest outpost for Salesforce outside of the US. I think that was very satisfying. The third one was when we crossed $1 billion in revenues. And that was something, a standout moment for me, because I had said that in 4 years we'd be able to do it. We actually did it in 3 years.
Our Salesforce India has crossed this milestone of $1 billion in revenue. Tell us, how did you manage to achieve this?
So at this point of time, there's not much I want to say about numbers. The way to achieve this, of course, is first of all, to show how India could add value. Okay, so one of the reasons why we have seen this growth in manpower is by showing people the ability that we have to add value. That's one thing. The other thing is actually by ensuring that that they can rely upon us to deliver what we say we will. So if it's, say, sales numbers, if it is deadlines for product deliveries, we try our level best to ensure that we are keeping to it.
What do you plan to achieve with this huge investment? What's your expansion plans? What's the vision for the upcoming year?
Look, the outlook today is very difficult to predict because today one thing that has happened is all cycles have become much faster. So whether it be economic cycles, whether it be market cycles, whether it be technology cycles, every single cycle that you see used to be much more long lasting earlier, is much more fast today, and it is getting more swift. So if you see the markets going down like a stone, 3 days later you'll see them rising again. Okay. Similarly with economic cycles, one quarter your GDP is down, next quarter suddenly you'll find the GDP is rising again. And it's very difficult therefore really to predict exactly how it's going to happen. On top of that, there are a lot of global uncertainties that have come up. And you've been seeing all the narrative regarding the tariff wars, regarding the geopolitical challenges. All of those are very much in the general narrative. So to put it all together and then come up with something that gives you an outlook for the year, I think is now one of the biggest challenges that we have. Having said that, I believe that there is no gainsaying the fact that AI is here to stay. Okay, so to that extent we know the direction that it is taking, and it is important for us to try and make sure that the companies that we are working with or the companies that we are partnering with, that we make them as capable as possible to respond in as agile and nimble a manner to the changes as they come. See, what happens is changes may happen in the way you do business, but your agility to respond to those changes is very much dependent on how good you are at not only understanding the change, but how well prepared you are to change processes and technology, or whether you have a strong enough technology backbone that creates that agility for you. So to that extent, I think our job right now is to ensure that we are creating that agility and nimbleness amongst the people that we work with, the customers and partners that we work with, the ecosystem to make it as ready as possible for whatever comes our way. Because to exactly say what is coming our way is not in our hands. Okay, it's going to be determined by very many factors, and how those factors will play out, many of the players themselves don't know.
Absolutely. When you joined Salesforce, the employee base was around 2,500. It scaled to 11,000. Now currently it's at 13,000. Do you have more plans to expand this?
So this is something, which we will see as we go along. It's difficult to predict as of now. I think the nature of the jobs are changing, and we will still need to obviously take people, but what kind of people is what we need to see, need to understand. For instance, sales is something where I don't see us slowing down at all. We will be needing salespeople and we will be taking them, and that is across the world, not only in India. Because at the end of the day, sales does require human beings to actually explain the opportunity, pursue the opportunity, and see what we can do about it. Similarly for products, we are constantly innovating on the products. So products too, we will need people who will be able to innovate and create those products. So yes, we will continue to grow.
What are the potential that lies in India?
There are many companies in this region where till about 2 years back, they had thought that AI was something that was good to have, not a must-have. I think the one thing that ChatGPT has done has convinced people on a personal level that AI is not something good to have, it's a must-have. Okay, that's the change that has happened, because people have actually experienced it themselves. Okay, and they now know that unless they are able to also have these things in their business, then the threat to sustainability of that business is huge. Okay, but having said that, is it true that they are already on this journey or well advanced in this journey? Neither of those is true. Some are, but many aren't. And I think that's where our opportunity lies. How to take them along on this journey. A lot of people want to embark on this journey, they don't know what are the steps. A lot of people have embarked, but they don't know whether they're going the right way. So I think there is a huge amount of contribution that we can make in the journeys of these companies as they internalize the productivity gains and the efficiencies that can be had from AI, as they think through processes and how those processes will change, as they try and gauge the kind of productivity increases, the kind of changes that will happen to their top line and bottom line. I think that there is a huge opportunity there, and yep, we are very keen on bringing that vision to them.
Agentic AI was launched at Salesforce in around September 2024, right? And do you plan to have some more investments in the AI vertical?
Oh yeah. There's a huge amount of investment there, and it's constantly changing, by the way. Means the product is getting enriched by the day, and it still needs a lot of enrichment. I will not say we are anywhere near to where we need to be. So this is a product that is maturing by the day. Okay, so whether it be multi-agent orchestration, whether it be as we call it the headless model, meaning where Salesforce is not there at all, but only the agents are there on top. So there are so many other things that we want to do, and do it properly. So whether it be voice, whether it be texts, the way we handle multilingual communication. So all of these, is very much part of the autonomous agentic experience, and how to make it more human-like.
Globally, a lot of job roles were announced from Salesforce, but at the same time, there were also certain layoffs that announced. Do you think this layoffs and hiring is a byproduct of an innovation? How do you see this loop?
So these are all byproducts of transition, I would say. Okay, as you transition from one phase to another, there will be, as I said, changes in roles. Some roles will not be required, other roles will come into being. For instance, nobody talked so much about ethics and integrity as they are talking about it today regarding the AI products. Okay, so I didn't even know the term prompt engineering this time last year. Okay, and now it's all about prompt libraries and prompt engineering and all of that. Okay, so yeah, the roles are going to change. I'm not saying that the roles will remain the same, but in spite of that, my contrarian view is that all of this actually enables human beings to become more human, because many of the interactions that you are doing on the digital medium now are interactions that can be done autonomously by an agent. That actually frees up your time. We did a survey, and we found that in respect of everything that a person does during their employment, almost 41% of those jobs are repetitive jobs. It can just as well be handled by agents. Now, if 41% of your time is given back to you, imagine the amount of creativity, the amount of connections, human connections that you can actually replace it with. So I think, it's all taking us towards a different area. The biggest thing in this is we need people not to be afraid. We need people to lean in, not resist.
Thank you so much. That's all from my end. Is there something that you would like to add?
Nothing more, excepting that it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time today.